Hello everyone, this is Chris from Fitness Incoming. Today I'm going to talk to you about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Just give you a little bit of my background. I served in the British Army from 1988 to 2006. I did 2 tours of Northern Ireland and 1 of Iraq. Not long after that, after leaving, I joined the police, and I've been a police officer now for over 18 years. So my fitness thing is a part-time thing. My full-time job is as a police officer. So I'm going to talk, as I said, about PTSD. Now that comes to different people for different reasons. That's why this is my first one here, and it's going to be led by you. So the comments that I get from this is what you want to know or what you want to find out, and if we can do this journey together. But the first subject I'm going to talk to is about how I cope with PTSD, or the first stages of this. So the big thing I can suggest to anyone is to talk to someone about this. My problems came, and I didn't realise I had any problems. It was someone that noticed on Instagram, actually, that I was putting some dark things out there. No, not too dark, but they knew that something wasn't right. And I didn't know. All I could say was I was getting very forgetful. And I ended up speaking to my boss about this. My short-term memory was okay, but anything past that was a nightmare. And I think it came with, I have to be careful what I say because of investigations, but a major incident that happened in London when I was one of the first people there. When I was doing my statement about this, I couldn't really remember much about it. Yes, it was horrendous. There was lots of horrific things to see, but when I was trying to recall it, I couldn't really. I remembered bits and bobs, and this was concerning to me because I needed to remember some of it just for evidence and things, but I just couldn't really remember. And it was I just thought it was me just going a little bit loopy, forgetting stuff. And then I had an incident over a tea bag. How ridiculous is this? An incident with a tea bag, so I'm not putting it in the right place, and I just absolutely lost it. I couldn't stop crying. And it was one of my colleagues that just gave me a big hug, and I just could not stop crying. And that was just not like me whatsoever, because I've seen and experienced quite a few things in my short 51 years on this planet. And then it's times like this when you realise that you are suffering because you're up to your neck in it and you don't realise it. So I needed to talk to someone about this. With work, they put me on something called TRIM treatment, traumatic risk management, I think it's called. And the police put me to a psychiatrist to speak to them with cognitive behavioural therapy, I think it was called. So I went to these sessions, and I couldn't do it. I was talking to someone that was qualified in the subject, but as far as I felt, they hadn't been there, they hadn't saw that, they hadn't got the t-shirt. And I was asking her, do you get treatment from someone? Because some of the things I was telling her that I've seen, you could tell by her face that she was massively shocked. And I'm thinking, if you're struggling for what I'm telling you, how do you think it is in my head? And I had to stop these sessions, and because it was making me worse. So I was put on a little bit of leave. And in this time, a company called Rock to Recovery contacted me. At the time, they were only dealing with veterans, which is quite good because I am one, mostly from the Royal Marines. But they contacted me and said, hey, Chris, I think you're struggling here. Why don't you come in and speak to us? And I went to their offices in London, and I was met by an operator who's been to some of the same places I have and seen some of the same things. And I could really open up to them. And they did some other treatment with me, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was, but I don't want to tell you anyway, because at the end of the session I came with them, it was a massive surprise that I felt so good about myself. But it was talking to someone like me, talking to someone that's experienced some of the things that I've experienced, really, really did help. So if I can give anyone some advice, and I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I said I sometimes really struggle to focus. That really took such a weight off my shoulders by speaking to a like-minded person, especially a company like Rock to Recovery. They're not paying for me, they're not sponsoring for this, but they were fantastic for me, because other people have had cognitive cognitive behavioural therapy, and that's worked fantastic. It just didn't work for me. So that's the biggest tip. Talk to someone, get some professional help, because we're not professionals. We're professionals in what we do, but obviously not the professionals of the headspace. The other tip I could give you, if it's offered, take medication. I didn't want to take any medication. I'm not going to tell you what I'm on or how much, but I was like, I don't need that. That's for crazy people. I don't need that. And it was my sister-in-law that taught me into it. And it's one of the best things that I've ever done, is take some medication. Because it sort of balances everything out and it gives you a chance to think. So with the combination of medication that I had and talking to someone, the right people, got me back to work really quickly. And it wasn't too quick. I felt I was ready to go back. So that's my first things I can give you on this first talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. I said I'm really apologising, it was rambling, but it's hard for me to gather thoughts sometimes, especially about this subject that I struggle with. And I'm hoping that there's other people out there that feel the same way as I've done. They've done the same things. We can get together, we can put our minds together, help each other, and help other people that don't understand what they're going through or think there's no one out there to help. So if you enjoyed what you see, when I say enjoy, if you like what you've seen here, please like and subscribe, obviously, but please drop a comment on here telling me how you feel, or the treatment that you've got, and then we'll look at it together. We'll take this journey together and hopefully making us all feel a lot better. I'm going to be here for any questions that, say, someone's partner have got. You can't ask them, but you can ask me, or let's throw some things around and see what we get. Because a lot of us are struggling. A lot of police officers, ambulance workers, firefighters, midwives, believe it or not, obviously armed forces are really struggling. But luckily there's starting to be more help out there, but some people don't know if this helps. So this is what this is for. Thank you very much for listening to my ramblings, and hopefully this can go somewhere. Please look after yourself, please talk to someone, and be awesome.